Welcome back to Hope Wednesday. We are tackling the issue of boundaries. B is for boundaries, and we are implementing them for this holiday season. We have decided that we want change, and so we're going to get some skills and we're going to begin to do things differently. I want to also interject right here that there's a book called Boundaries. It's not too late, easy reading, but if you begin the process of boundaries, then you can become aware and you can begin to change yourself. It makes no sense to try to enforce boundaries with other people and you don't have boundaries yourself. So that's just a tip. We're talking about boundaries this month and we want to get a good handle on controlling what we can control. I am Elisa Flakes. I am your host, and this is a psychoeducational platform. This platform is just educational. It is not therapy. And if you have been abused sexually, physically, mentally abused, this information may not be suitable for you for the holidays. This is for other events other type of injuries in families that can be discussed and hashed out and just, considered and forgiven. Is that okay? All righty, let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for another opportunity to share how to have boundaries for the holiday, how to love our family members, and how to get better. We thank you for our families. We thank you for this season. We thank you that we're even able to see this month. Many didn't make it. The song says millions didn't make it, but we made it. You have us here on purpose, in love. Help us to be loving. In Jesus' name, amen. All righty. Let's go. Let's dive in. We talked about the house rules. We've talked about, what boundaries are, why boundaries. And now we're going to just hit on the food, the guests, and the activities because we want to create some structure around the family function because sometimes we don't have enough structure. We just show up and then when things happen we don't like, we comment. But we get to be intentional. Remember I talked about last week or last session, because this is just a series. It's basically same day, different series. But I talked about how it's okay to be intentional. It's okay to decide what atmosphere you want. Do you want to play soft Christian music, instrumental music, jazz music? Like you get to set the ambience. And guess what? The ambiance starts in your mind before you get there, how you think about the event. If you're in the past and thinking about the time where you were hurt or offended and you're bringing that to the function, okay? When we're asking you to bring potato salad to the function, that's all we want you to bring. We don't want you to bring what happened in 1997 and how, your potato salad wasn't eaten or how you didn't get you didn't get to sit at the table. You had to sit at the kids' table, et cetera, et cetera. We don't want you to bring that. The objective is to handle all your mess as it occurs, all your offenses as it occurs, so that we're not bringing offense to the table. I want to eat at the table. I do not want to do offense, and I do not want to do stares. Listen, sis and bro, I don't want to play emotional charades. I don't want to do that. All I want to bring you to bring is your beautiful smile, your beautiful self, your essence, your personality. I want you to bring that in a safe way. Don't bring all that other stuff. Leave that stuff because it's yours. And I'm not going to tell you how to handle your mental health, but can you, for one day, bless God's holy name, 2 days, Christmas and Thanksgiving, can you leave that at home? Can you tell it? Because for some of us, we're in a whole relationship with our issues and with the past. We got a book. Can you take that book that you have with all the offenses, who did what to you, who did what to your kids, and for the day, just put the book on the counter and say, I'll be back. And I'll probably add more to you after this event because I keep records. I keep records. They may not be accurate receipts, but they're my receipts. So keep that. Stay right there. Stay right there on the dresser table, and I'll be sure to pick you up when I come back. Or not. You can decide, I'm not picking that book up. I'm picking up the Bible, and I'm going to do things differently. But for those of you who are just locked into your past and locked into the offense, please, I'm begging you, and for Big Mama, let's do it for Big Mama. Let's leave the black book at home, the journal at home. the book of offense at home? Can we leave that at home? Can we leave the attitude at home? Because, my grandma used to say this, my auntie, she used to say this. I didn't sleep with you last night. I didn't sleep with you last night. So you get to speak. You get to speak. Don't bring that here. You might be mad at your kids and your husband, but I didn't do it. So don't take it out on us, right? I didn't do it. I had no control over why you're angry. I haven't seen you. So I get to experience a new you. Now, I'm not saying if you have grief or if someone passed away and you're just kind of quiet to yourself, that's understandable. But I'm talking about just you coming through with a tune. I didn't want to be here, but I'm here. Okay, we asked you to come, but we didn't ask you to bring it, like the movie Bring It. We didn't ask you to bring it. So we're going to set a boundary and we're going to ask you to come with the right attitude and the right spirit. We're just going to ask that. And if you can't, send some cider and a beautiful blessing prayer, and we will pray for you. But we want you there. But the boundary is this: you don't get to bring the noise. You don't get to bring the chaos. You don't get to bring the attitude and snarl and look at people and like you don't want to be there, but you are blessing us with your presence. Sis, bro, you don't have to bless us with your presence. Go on and, make you a TV dinner or do a Friendsgiving until you're able to join the family. Because one bad apple does cause damage to the other bunch. And, it's cancerous and it's contagious. So think about it. But I don't want you to use that as an excuse, and know that, well, I got an attitude, so I'm not going. You get to work on your attitude and you get to talk to the people who made you angry, and you get to not take it out on the people that you're angry with. Just bring your dish. That's all we're saying. Bring your beautiful face, your unique personality, and your dish. Bring your dish. That's the boundary there. And another boundary is, I saw one of my comments, I asked for comments about things that happen that are boundary violations. And someone said, someone putting seasoning in the pot. You just cooking, and somebody putting their seasoning in your pot. That's a boundary violation. I don't care if you have the best recipe. If you're not cooking it, you do not have permission to alter the meal. Now, you could get your plate and go to town, and then you might have to bring your own seasonings because it's not appropriate for you to go into other people's cabinet and redoctor the meal right in front of them. That's rude, and that's injurious, and that's hurtful. And we don't want to do that. That's why in good faith, just get a small portion until you find out you like it. Kids be like, "Oh, this is nasty." But we don't expect you as an adult to do that. So choose wisely what you're going to eat and stay away from the pots and stay away from the comments that, I think this is not done. I think this is too, because if you are an elder and you do know how to cook, you can whisper in the cook's ear and you can say, "Baby, I think this needs a little more time because that used to happen to auntie, or that used to happen to mama, or sis, that used to happen to me. This is going to need a little more time." And then if they say, "I know how this is supposed to be. I always cook it like this." You bow out and you say, note to self, don't eat that or I'm going to get food poisoning because it's not done. But you don't have to go to the next person and say, "Guess what? That ain't done." You don't have to cause that much of a stir, but you do get to protect yourself. And you do get to make your request or your recommendation known to the person who is cooking in a very respectful way. But start and lift up high. Who made this? Who made the potato salad? Who made this? After you take a bite, who made this? And crunched up? That's rude. That's rude. And just because we're family and we try to pride ourselves on having thick skin, we don't need that kind of thick skin. That's just rude. There's a way to say it. If you didn't care for it, I didn't care for it. Or, I'm not saying you have to lie, but if you don't care for it, you don't care for it, but you don't have to announce it. Remember, a fool is even seen as wise when he keeps his mouth shut. And people know people are foolish when they keep running their mouth. So we don't have to play the fool. We can respect people. We can have boundaries, and we can kind of just hold our tongue. Like what we're going to say. We can put a boundary on our tongue, right? And we don't have to be brought into it with other people and just being negative about who cooked what. Just note to self, the next time you're talking, discreetly in a loving way, the heads, whoever planned it, and say, that wasn't done, and such got diarrhea, and such got food poisoning. So, we're gonna have to find a way to make sure everything's done. Maybe we could have some warmers and make sure everything is done. And we're gonna have to make sure that the sensitive dishes, the advanced cooks the main things, because people look for macaroni and cheese to be right. People look for dressing to be right. People look for their turkey to be right. People look for their greens to be right. People look for their potato salad to be right. Now, you could bring some rolls or bring something, but some things you can't hand off to people who are learning and experimenting. November and December is not a season for experimentation. We know what we want. And so you set people up to be hurt. So set a boundary on who gets to make what, who are you going to ask to make what, because it's not time to try out new recipes. We don't want to put cranberries in our potato salad if we've never done that. We don't want to do that, okay? That's not what we want to do. So we want to be careful that we're being respectful and that we know, because if you eat with people January through October, you know who can cook what. You should be able to have a sampler's platter. And so it's no time for let's guess about it. And we know people that they don't ever cook and they fast food king and queen. And then we want them to bring a main course. We're setting it up. Let's set a boundary right there and say, okay, respectfully, we're going to have the experienced cooks cook. And then we can have people help clean up, or we can have people come to their house. I did this. And I have to get back to cooking because my daughter's passed me up. So I have to start back cooking and learn how to cook again, because I stopped. I used to cook a lot. But what I used to do is I used to teach. So if you teach, if somebody watches you do it, then they can replicate what you're doing. Instead of complaining that you always have to cook and no one else has to cook, teach somebody how to cook so that you don't feel that you got to cook. You're the only one in the family that can cook. You're the only one in the family that can make macaroni and cheese. You're the only one in the family that can make greens. You're the only one in the family. Teach somebody. It's okay to teach somebody. But sometimes people don't want to give up that crown. They want to complain about it, but then they like people to say, I like your dressing. I like your potato salad. They like that, and they don't want to give up the recipe. Give up the recipe, sis, bro. Give it up, because we got a next generation, and we don't want to hear you complain about how swollen your feet are because you won't let anybody help you. So that's a boundary. Finding the right person for the right meals for that day. Everybody can't cook on that day. And then we talked about the activities. Okay, we talked about the food. We talked about what time it's going to be served. We talked about how we're not going to be mean and judge people for their food. And we talked about how we're going to handle, no, we didn't talk about the boundary of the plates. You getting a plate before Big Mama and them got a plate. That's an issue. You pulling your fork in and you eating stuff, and it's a germ issue, let alone, we ain't talking about COVID. It's just a nasty germ issue. Don't put the spoons in the pot and taste nothing. Don't do that. And then when it's time to eat, find out the order of the eating. Don't just knock over the pregnant woman and step on grandpa's toe and knock Big Mama over. Find out, be respectful. Like, okay, we feeding the kids. And that's something you can decide before. Are we making plates or are we doing buffet? Are we feeding the kids? Where are we feeding the kids? And then are the wives feeding the husbands? Because listen, that's a boundary issue. You roll up on somebody's cousin's husband and try to hand a plate, you might get a 2-piece and a biscuit. You might get a look, or you might get some words, because we want to be respectful. So how are we going to do? See how this order? Boundaries are just respectful order. And when chaos pursues, mayhem pursues. So we're just trying to prepare things. And no, we're not trying to make it like, oh, you bougie or you're acting like the other race. No, we're trying to honor Big Mama and honor Rodney King and saying, can we all get along? And the only way we can get along is through structure. So we decide how we're going to feed people. And then you could even decide, how are we going to do to-go plates? Because for me, I'm older and I don't want a lot of food at my house. My husband he eats 1 day of leftover. He's not eating 2 days of leftovers. And so I could eat more, but so I pack according to your house and be fair. Don't let somebody take all the pie, all the sweet potato, all the greens. No, decide early. We're going to have a packing crew. This is how we're going to pack up. And I'm getting more ideas as I speak. And it's just been me and my kids, and we don't have these issues. But there's nothing wrong with order. Decide, after dessert or the games, like, okay, how are we going to do the pack up? Buy containers. Some people do foil. You don't have to bring your own foil from the car. We're gonna, you're not gonna make 10 plates for your homies. We're going to make plates. And that's a boundary, because some people want to get in that kitchen and make 20 plates for people who hate you, don't want to eat your food, don't want to see your face, but they want your dressing and they want your macaroni and cheese. That's not appropriate. The boundary is this. We're going to set order, and we're going to give you some, but we're not going to give you 20 plates. You're not going to go home and recreate Thanksgiving for people who didn't come or for your friends. You could come the day before and learn how to cook, but you're not going to recreate a whole meal, like a whole dinner experience. No, that's not fair. That's not thinking about everyone. We want to be fair, and we want to distribute the meals accordingly. So we can buy containers, we can buy extra foil, and we can assign, even if we go back to heads of households, and have them to make meals for their families. I'm just suggesting, you don't have to take this, but let me tell you, I've seen things go south because people don't have order when it's time for people to take stuff, and people get attitudes. I'm just saying, let's save the fights for the real stuff. Let's save the disagreements for the hard stuff. Life is hard enough. We shouldn't have to fight over like little things like that. And usually by the time we fight over that, it's because we're mad at something else. And that's the straw that broke the camel's back. You got the last rolls. That's why I don't fool with y'all. That's why I don't do family. I could run to Stater Brothers and get you some more. No, something else is going on. So we want to watch that. And then we want to watch the Flying Monkeys. Oh, no, the Flying Monkeys and the alliances. And because after we eat and our food is settling, sometimes people get in little huddles and they laugh and talk about people, and they don't even want to talk to everybody. They don't want to play Phase 10. They don't want to play a family game. They want to just huddle. And sometimes that's rude. So we have to watch out for the little communities that we create. And I understand you're closer to some people than you are with other people, but have an open circle and not a closed circle at these events, because somebody may need to hear from you, get a hug from you, and we don't want to not give them that. And we don't want to send subliminal. This is not the day. We want to check our communication. We get to decide what topics are off limit. We get to decide this is not problem-solving day. I need to talk to you in the back outside. No, I'm here for turkey. I'm not here for conflict resolution. You had January to October to talk to me, and now you want to take my one good day of football, food, and family and have a whole conference. I'm not having a conference on Thanksgiving. I'm not. And I know I'm not, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be quick to hear and slow to speak. So I'm trying not to offend nobody, so I don't have to get nothing right and apologize. I'm not doing all that. I want to eat. I want to chill. I'm not having a conference about who shot John in 1974. I'm not doing it. I'm not going down that road where we're talking about family secrets and who slept with who and whose baby is not whose babies and whose maybe. I'm not doing that. My food is going to sit. My dessert is going to sit. Because if that's not on my agenda of peace or laughter or love, because remember, you get to decide what you want coming into the event. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. And if because you always have somebody that tries to pull you into their world. And if they're unhappy, they want to bring you into a chisme, into gossip, or into something negative, and they just want to throw something negative in there. Decide. And you may have to leave that circle and say, I'll holla, or I'm going to get me something to drink, and never come back, because we're all developing at different levels. So you're going to run into that. And for some people, they love it. And so they'll sit and they'll talk about that. But you get to decide what you're going to do and what you're going to talk about. And don't let people pit you against other people. Because that happens too, where you're okay with one of your cousins, but your other cousin is mad at you. So now you can't talk to the person you like because the other cousin would be mad. Or now you have to be a flying monkey, which is somebody who's under the control of somebody, and send subliminals and act like they want you to act, and while they act like they're okay and they want you to have the attitude and mad dog and have a bad attitude towards everyone so that they don't look bad, they have you do stuff to other people so their hands are clean. So the term is called flying monkeys because narcissistic people usually have people around them who they tell their side of the story to, and they're just the victims, and everybody's hurting them, and so they have mouthpiece that will speak up. They're that cousin that'll say anything. If you're the cousin that says anything, chances are you're a flying monkey because all they have to say is, they're here again, and guess what they did to me? But I don't want to say nothing because I don't want to start nothing. You do want to say something. You just said it to that person, and now that person got a big mouth and is a flying monkey. They're going to go over there and say, that ain't right what you did to such and such. And so we want to bring all that communication in. No flying monkeys, no flying monkeys, no flying monkeys. I just gave you a sprinkle of flying monkeys because you guys know what the flying monkeys are. People who get other people to start stuff and then they back up. The Bible talks about it and they wipe their mouth like, what? I didn't do nothing. They just don't get along. I get along with everybody. You get along with everybody, but what are you telling everybody about everybody? You have everybody mad at each other, but you get along with everybody. How is it that you get along with everybody, but everybody's mad at everybody? You the one person that gets along with everybody. That means that you have been being divisive with your mouth, and you have flying monkeys. You have people who are angry for you. Because you're the bishop, you're the first lady, you're the holy one. You can't cuss nobody out. You can't get angry. So you have other people do it for you. Isn't that nice? You have other people ask her when she gonna have kids. Ask her when she gonna get married. Ask her when she gonna lose that weight, because she sure is big. I'm not gonna say nothing though, because you know how people get. So you talk about it with other people, and then they do the bidding. Oh, you sure? You want another piece of cake? You need to slow down. When you gonna get married? You sure is skinny. You sure is. When you gonna get a man? You don't never have the same man. And that's the flying monkey because you've already had that conversation. Oh, yes, you have. Oh, yes, you have. That's a boundary issue. We don't get to talk to people any kind of way in the name of keeping it real. We get to watch our communication on Turkey Day and on baby Jesus' birthday. We don't get to say whatever because we feel like it. God bless you.